That green looks weird though.
They're gonna do it. Austin will be good.
You just put it out there.
I'm just a little bit worried. Welcome back to another episode of Around the Block Volleyball. Today we're going to be naming one key player from each League One team that'll help them succeed for the League One Classic. But first, let's start off with some news. So our one piece of news this week is that Mary Wise, the head coach of Florida, announced her retirement. She coached at Florida for 34 years, which was a very long time, and she led them to 34 straight NCAA bids, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, initial reaction is just another big coach going down. It sucks that it's kind of like, I don't know about end of an era, but that's kind of how it feels with Mary Wise and John Cook both.
Now, something about this year it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, both teams were really good this year too, which I feel like makes it that much more difficult to see them go. Seeing how it felt like they were both building momentum again.
Yeah.
Obviously, they didn't get to the top and they didn't win it, but you know, the fact that they're still retiring now is still tough to digest. It's
definitely weird where I think both of them had like a little, like it felt like they still had rosters with time left.
For sure, sure. They've both felt like young teams that they still had things going for them. It's not like they had seniors that were just going to leave and then you're like, oh crap, what are we supposed to do with our team now?
I mean, Nebraska's always Nebraska, and then Florida, they had Kennedy Martin, who kind of like showed out this year.
For sure.
It kind of sucks to see her go.
Yeah.
Just to read off some of her stats that she had, or achievements. She's the most winning female head coach in the NCAA volleyball history. She won 1,068 games with an 83.4 win percentage.
Disgusting.
She had the fourth most wins in D1 volleyball by any coach, and she's basically the greatest women's coach that's ever existed in NCAA volleyball. She also has 3 National Coach of the Year awards. Kind of crazy. I think there's maybe like 3 other head coaches that have reached that. And she's been coaching for a long time. She started her head coaching career at Iowa at 21 years old, making her the youngest head coach ever. So
it's amazing, like the longevity that she had, where, I mean, Florida was also just a team that, you know, was always consistent.
Yeah, and like, I think she kind of like built them up to that level.
For sure. Yeah. And I feel like you kind of, maybe more recently you see other coaches that have done that. Maybe like, I mean, Katie Schumacher-Colley is like a coach that like that, where, you know, they're just at the beginning now, but, you know, back then, Mary Wise has been doing this type of thing where she's changed a culture. She's brought it up for a really long time, I feel like.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the most interesting thing when a new coach steps in. How are they able to adjust the culture or maybe keep the culture the same? I guess it depends.
I don't think there's been any rumors yet, which means that there's a lot of speculation going on. I think it'll be interesting to see whether they're going to keep it in-house or they're going to get someone else around. And like I said about Kennedy Martin before, I think it's going to be very interesting to see what she thinks, because I know she was pretty committed to staying at Florida, but when the head coach leaves, things change up, and as a player, sometimes you kind of feel like, oh, like this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be anymore. The kind of vibe of the team like just feels different. Maybe I'll want to leave. Maybe she'll want to leave. So it's going to be interesting to see, because she is one of the best right sides in D1 volleyball.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to kind of be like an every man for themselves type of thing that's going on here, especially with the transfer portal and how active it can be nowadays.
Yeah.
They kind of missed it a little bit now.
Yeah.
They're kind of behind speed, but I mean, if someone like Kennedy Martin leaves, I mean,
I don't even...
That would be huge for whoever she goes to, right?
I don't even know how the windows are supposed to work, but even if it's not this upcoming... I don't remember if she's going to be a junior or senior this next year, but it's going to be super weird to see how she feels about the team, because she was so committed before.
And you could see why. When you have a head coach like that, you're going to be able to trust them and know that, you know, they're going to put the team first.
Yep.
So sad to see another one go, really.
Yeah. Wishing her the best in retirement, and let's keep it pushing. Okay, moving on to our match recaps for the week. On Wednesday, we had Houston versus Austin, and Houston won in 4 sets. So for Houston, the player of the match, as normally is with Houston, it was Jordan Thompson. She got the most sets, the most kills, and she kind of carries the load offensively.
I mean, she's been super consistent this year, though.
Yep.
I feel like she's always been their go-to hitter, and she's proven it that she can keep doing it against all these teams, too. I mean, obviously, these teams are no slouches. Their defense is going to be good, for sure. And I feel like sometimes she makes the defense look kind of bad because she's going to be able to hit. She's going to be able to hit over not every block, but a good amount of blocks she can hit over them, and she's got power behind it. She knows location, too, so... Sometimes it can just be hard to stop.
I mean, she's definitely one of the best, arguably the best outside or opposite, I mean, like in the league right now. So it's obvious that she's going to be the one kind of standing out.
Yeah.
For this game, she had 25 points, 23 of them were kills, and 2 of them were blocks. So very, very good from her. She also did that on 31.7% efficiency, which is
really
pretty good. Yeah.
Really good.
Yep. Just one more note about her, at least from what I was watching, she had some like really good defensive plays actually. So I was a little bit surprised by that because it's definitely your right sides. You're not necessarily expecting like the greatest defense from them.
Yeah.
Especially most of the ones in this league. I don't think you get too much defense, but seeing it come out from her, I was like, okay, it's kind of lit.
Yeah, it's always fun to see like a right side that's gonna actually buckle down and play some defense too, not just block and hit.
Yeah. Highlight some other players from the Houston side. I think Maddie Rischel had a good game. She had 15 kills, 2 aces, 2 blocks. Pretty good.
Again, she's always just been really steady.
Yeah.
I feel like she's not flashy. She's just gonna try and just get the job done. She's gonna be like, all right, if I can just get a kill, it doesn't matter how it happens, as long as it hits the floor.
Yep.
I'm gonna take that, and I feel like that's worked for her. And
I mean, it works for the team.
Yeah, that's what's been working for the team as well.
And to contrast that, Jess Merzik, who had a bad game.
Yeah.
Not great. I think she did get a lot of sets, so 40 attempts, 12 kills, and 6 errors. And I think definitely at the beginning, we saw her missing a lot of shots. She was trying to do she normally does like the cross court, like 4-to-4 type shot. She missed a bunch of them this game, so it wasn't great to see, and hopefully it was just more of a one-off thing because I think this was one of her worst games.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I feel like she's shown that she can play at this level, and I mean, yeah, this one game was tough, but I think she's been pretty good where you can kind of expect her to hold her own at this level so far.
Yeah, for sure. So hopefully we'll see things better for the League One Classic, but also from Houston, Amber Ajiti had a pretty good game. So, I mean, I think she's been not completely like stand out, but she has been one of the better middles in the league so far. And this game, she kind of like exemplified it. And I think she's a little bit underrated. Maybe not fully by the announcers. I think the announcers know, but maybe from like the general public, she doesn't feel like she has that superstar aura or anything, but I think she can get there.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think it's kind of like that for all the middles so far. It's been like that besides Obogu, which we can talk about, after we talk about Houston. But
yeah,
I feel like she's been very good. Where she kind of just does her job, and it's kind of a good thing that you don't notice her. Where there's not going to be misconnections, or she's just not any factor. She's not a factor at all on offense, type of thing. She's still solid. They set her a little bit here and there. I mean, they probably could set her more, honestly.
Yeah.
And, get the middles going. And that always helps out the pins, so.
All right, now moving on to Austin as part of that match. It was kind of cool that I think a lot of the Texas Longhorns kind of came out to play because this was like a little bit of a home game for them. So, especially like it's supposed to be like a Texas rivalry, even though the Houston team doesn't really have any Texas players like that. But it's a little bit of like a rivalry between them, and the local players came out to play.
For sure. I mean, Maddie Skinner, she's, again, just one of those other players that just graduated that is proving that she can hang with these pro players.
Yeah.
And, I mean, she looked just as good as Jordan Thompson did at times, where, Jordan Thompson was looked at, she's like the right side for the U.S. And if Maddie Skinner is doing the same thing that she's been doing and doing it against each other, I feel like
she has potential.
Yeah. You don't know what she's going to be able to pull off.
Yeah, I think she probably swings a lot harder, maybe, but maybe it's a little bit more predictable. And I think something weird. I don't exactly know what's going on coaching wise for that team, but I think she didn't play really in the second set. So I thought that was weird. Or she didn't really, at the very least, she like didn't get set too much and didn't have an impact. Maybe I think she didn't play, but that's super weird to see after she had like a pretty hot first set.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was like her being tired, something like that, but kind of weird coaching decision to see her starting to get hot and then kind of going like band for band with Jordan Thompson and then getting taken out. And she came back and she was okay afterwards, but I feel like she didn't get to ride the wave that she was on.
Yeah. I mean, it was tough for Austin to probably like the set so far of the season with how close that set was. I feel like that was just insane.
Yeah.
I mean, what? It was 33-31?
Yeah, it went stupid. And that's why I thought Maddie Skinner had that. I was like, oh my God, she's actually going band for band. And then there's probably something about getting tired or something.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, that's just a backbreaker when you lose
Yeah.
such a close set and you went so far into overtime. Like,
Yeah.
That's just really rough to end up losing that one.
Yeah, it just sucks because I feel like when a player is getting so hot, like you kind of want to ride their like you want to give them like a little bit of a heat check.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think another good thing for Austin was the Logan Eggleston sub in like kind of midway through the match. She didn't start, but when she got put in, she started to get a bunch of kills. She was actually playing pretty good defense, and it was like a little bit like I was seeing like more college Logan Eggleston versus like kind of what we've seen for her like in her pro career.
Yeah. I mean, because her in college was a different animal. I mean, you were not stopping her in college, so it's good to see that. Hopefully, she can bring that confidence further into League One, and hopefully that can continue.
Yeah,
but also, I mean, honestly, shout out to Leah Hardiman. I feel like she's been pretty good when they slot her in on the outside. I feel like, especially because she's undersized, but she's been pretty multi-talented and she can affect the game in pretty different ways as well. Where
I think she's probably one of the more athletic players.
For sure.
I mean, she's a little bit undersized, but definitely super athletic, and she can make a lot of things work. Even if I think she had to get subbed out this game for Logan Eggleston, but when you have like a roster so talented, just like giving everyone a chance makes sense anyways.
Yeah, and I think that just gives teams a different look when you have someone else in, even if it's the same position. I like sometimes they just play differently, and I feel like she does. I think she brings a different energy, and especially when the way she attacks. I mean, she probably doesn't have the arm of Logan Eggleston, but you know.
I mean, at least she gets up.
Yeah.
I think that the next Texas Longhorn that kind of showed out was Zoe Jarvis. She was playing insane defense. I did not know that she kind of like still had that in her bag, like because she hasn't fully been like consistently taking that libero spot for Austin this season. So seeing her kind of like show out this game, I was like, all right, maybe she has the spot in the bag for the rest of the season. At the very least, probably for the LOVB Classic.
Yeah, it was fun watching her out there.
Yeah,
I feel like it kind of felt like a flashback too of her in college too, where you know she's able to take so much of the court up, and she has like a big amount of she has a huge range on defense, and I feel like that kind of showcased itself too. So
yeah,
that was fun. Again, in a loss, but still.
Yeah, I mean, they're just having some general struggles as a team, so not much you can do, but individual players can show out.
Yeah.
And I think, speaking of individual players trying to show out, I'd move on to Chiaka Ogbogu next.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I think she is one of the best blockers in the league, obviously one of the best blockers in the world.
Yeah.
But I don't really know what's going on exactly with Austin's setting, because I don't think they're setting her enough. I think she has the ability, especially at the levels that she's played at, to like be a pretty lethal middle, but the number of sets that she's getting is super low.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough. Like, I would have assumed when the season first started that she would be the best middle.
Yeah, I had her as the best middle.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's just hard to say that now, just because she hasn't been able to showcase it on the other side of the ball when she's on offense. But defensively, I mean, I think it's hands down she's the best blocker. So now it's just
Jimerson has an argument, but Ogbogu is definitely up there.
Yeah, I just feel like she's been consistent for a really long time, and I mean, maybe somehow you have to get the middles involved.
Yeah.
I mean, that might have to do with the passing, though. I feel
Yeah.
like the passing, even in this game, too, that's always something that's the limiting factor to setting the middle.
Yeah.
And I don't know how good their connection is. I mean, it's been okay so far, but I think there's been better middle setter connections.
I think
so
they arguably have the worst in the league.
Yeah.
Because I think for the gap between how skilled their middles are versus like how much they're being used is probably like the biggest amongst any team. Because I think like other teams are like at least now are starting to figure it out a little bit more. I think one of the other worst ones would be like Madison, but even then there's like starting to figure it out every now and then with like a couple flashes. But Austin, I'm like not particularly seeing that, and I don't know exactly what's going on. So it's a little worrying.
And it's hard to say because it's not that Torres is a bad setter either.
Yeah, I mean, she did not get as much. I think Carly Lloyd played the majority of this game, which sucks for Torres, but it's got to be something going on like behind the scenes because like I don't think we're seeing that big of a difference between Carly Lloyd and Torres.
Yeah, it's kind of been the
court.
same.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe that's just coming down to the coaching and the game plan. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if they're not emphasizing it enough that they need to run the middles.
Mm.
I would assume so because you have such a great middle that you would want to make sure that you still use her.
Yeah.
And I think that just benefits the offense when your middle is running and you got her going.
Yeah.
That's just going to make you so much harder to defend, even when you set the pins. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
I could definitely help them out a little bit more and maybe even like help them improve their like standings, but it's a little weird right now. But
yeah,
it was a tough loss for them, especially because they kind of lost in like home. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
Houston came to play.
Yep. Moving on to Friday's game, we had Atlanta versus Salt Lake, another 4-setter where Atlanta won in 3.
They just look too good. Atlanta just looks really, really good.
Yep.
I mean, Salt Lake did win that set, but I feel like Atlanta had control of the match pretty much the whole time. So
it almost felt like Atlanta was like took their foot off the gas a little bit, and they're like we're winning, like let's just take it a little bit chill, like let's not play too hard, especially because we have to play tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then they lost the set, and then they were like let's just win.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that you can think like that in a league where pretty much every team is stacked.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, they're just firing on all cylinders. I mean, Kelsey Cook, Panoy, like the passing has been really good.
The passing for the team is elite.
And Gia Day, I mean, the whole thing was that Mackenzie Adams, was she going to play? And how can she lead them again? Because she's been on a tear recently.
She's been very good.
But I think she was out sick, so she didn't even play on Friday. So, Gia Day came in there and she's like,
stepped up and made it work.
Yeah, I mean, she was ready for the moment and she stepped up, for sure.
Yep. So she played super well, passed pretty well too, especially when she basically became the target because you're not trying to serve Panoy, you're not trying to serve Kelsey Cook.
No, you're definitely not.
Stuff. But player of this game was Tessa Grubbs, their right side. Absolute animal. I mean, it was kind of weird that she did basically put up the same stats as Jordan Thompson from the previous game with the 25 points, 23 kills, 2 blocks. Kind of weird. Her efficiency was stupid high. It was 48.6%. So
absurd.
Yeah. Including errors, like losing stuff for errors. It's like getting close to 50% is insane.
And in this game too, I mean, it felt like every time that they set her, she was going to get a kill.
Yep.
It felt like it was just inevitable that she was going to get a kill whenever she got the ball. Mm-hmm. And
especially with that weird swing where it's like super high.
Yeah. I mean, her contact point is super high.
Yep.
She loves to rip it down line, even though she's a righty. I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, she's extremely good. And I mean, if she keeps playing like this, like Atlanta is super, super scary.
For sure.
I mean, they're already scary, obviously top of the league, but like like having that threat is just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought that talent-wise, they wouldn't be able to beat out the other teams. Mm-hmm. But right now, I mean, maybe I was just overlooking them or just the way that they've been developing as a team. Like, I think for them, they are playing the best team volleyball right now.
Yeah, they look very, very good together. Yeah. So, super crazy. Talking about Gia Day earlier, her stats, she got 13 kills and 4 aces. Her serve is actually crazy. She's wailing on that fucking ball.
Yeah.
That actually does remind me of another point about Grubbs is that her serve, she's wailing at the ball, but that ball is going out. Oh my God, so many serve errors is crazy.
It's okay. You give her a little pass because she's been playing so well.
When she's swinging like that, it's fine, but sometimes when I'm watching her serve, that ball is just woo!
Yeah. Hey, you know what? The rest of the team for Atlanta's been serving really well. Maybe you give her a little bit of pass.
Yeah, she has the leeway to keep doing it.
They serve really aggressively, and she can probably get away with it. That she serves aggressively, and she's gonna hit some out sometimes.
It's just crazy to see because when it does go in, it's actually a pretty good serve.
Yeah.
But then at least this game, you saw so many of them just flying out, and the defenders were just like, whoa.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's kind of what gave Salt Lake trouble was how good Atlanta serving has been, where it's just hard to be in system all the time, and especially when they're switching it up on you, right? They're gonna serve you deep. They're gonna serve short as well.
Yep.
So
they mix up the locations a lot.
Yeah, it just makes it a lot harder for the receivers. So
I think also a lot of them have like very different serves from each other. So it's like you're not like going everyone has like the same type of floating serve. So we'll be ready for it. Like it's the same the entire game. 1 through 6 serving, it's like, oh my God, we have to deal with this. We have to deal with this.
Yeah.
So it's a big mix up. Kind of speed running through the rest of the players. Kelsey Cook, Pinoy, obviously great defense.
Yeah.
Nothing to complain about ever. They keep doing their thing. Elite. Jimerson and Hainline, pretty good middle games.
Yeah.
Very good job. They're doing their thing blocking. They still get run a little bit each, so you always have them as like little threats.
Yeah.
So
Jimerson has probably been like my favorite middle to watch so far. I feel like
she's very good.
Like offensively, she's been great. I mean, it also feels like she can run kind of, a shoot or a one, and it's still pretty good. And she hits she's gonna hit different options.
Yeah.
And I think that just makes her that much more difficult to defend. And she's still a pretty good blocker too. Like she's a really good blocker.
I think she is one of the top blockers. I think she, at least numbers wise, she probably has some of the most blocks.
Yeah.
And she's super athletic. And I think offensively, I like the way that, I mean, obviously Rachel Fairbanks is like pretty young setter still, she's doing great, but like Jimerson can make any like slight misconnection. She can still make it work. And like no play is like just dying on that type of connection.
I mean, the thing with her too, she has got really big range for what you can set her.
Yeah, I don't know if she has long arms or something, but she can reach for that ball.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how tall she is, but it feels like she can get pretty much every ball that you set her.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how bad the set is. It feels like at times. So, I mean, she's definitely been able to make it work, especially with Rachel Fairbanks.
Yep.
It's making Rachel Fairbanks look real good right now, and she has been setting really well. But when you have hitters like that, I mean it's gonna make you look good, and you're gonna feel good for sure.
Yeah. We didn't get to see much Bug and Catino because Grubb was feasting.
Yeah, you don't have to.
There's no reason to have them in, especially when she's playing that well. So it's good. I don't particularly like that this league runs so much 6-2 from a lot of the teams, so I'm okay with it. I like to see like the more international level, like making sure that you have a right side that can play in the back row, that can swing from the back row, play a little bit of defense at least. So I'm okay with it. We can talk about Salt Lake now. Kind of lost.
Yeah.
Skylar Fields, she's been doing her thing. She's been doing her thing the whole season. So it's cool.
It kind of felt like they just got outclassed here.
Yeah.
I mean, they still played okay, but it felt like Atlanta kind of had the upper hand the whole time. Yeah,
I think you could actually have seen a little bit of frustration from Haley Washington, who did play like pretty solid.
Yeah.
But she's a middle. It's hard to get her the ball like all the time.
Yeah.
She does run like that really good slide, but it's like if you're not, especially against a serving team like Atlanta, like you're not going to be in system like that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the passing was difficult.
Yeah.
So I think it's only going to be harder when you're playing a team that serves that well.
Yep. So that's how it is.
I think that honestly was probably what was keeping Salt Lake from even being able to, stop a run was just, can they be in system? Can they actually side out?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes that was what was hurting them.
Yeah. I mean, not much you can do. All right. Moving on to Saturday. The first game of the day was Madison versus Atlanta. We talked about the last game being a stump. This game was actually a stomp. Atlanta 3-0'd Madison, wasn't even close. Gia Day was named player of the game with 9 kills, 2 aces, 33.3% efficiency, and pretty good reception and defense. In my opinion, it was still Tessa Grubbs because I think she just turned me into a fan this weekend, and she gets a lot of kills. So
yeah, I mean, she's so fun to watch too.
yeah.
But I mean, again, Gia Day, I just feel like she stepped into this role this week and she performed. I mean, she ran with it when she got the opportunity.
I do think this player of the game was like a little bit of that story going into it also.
For sure.
Where it's like, oh, she's just stepping into this role. She needs to step up, make sure that this offense can run. And
and again, I feel like, I mean, they were against Madison, but still, I feel like, you know, it didn't look like Atlanta missed a step when Mackenzie Adams was out. I feel like they still look just that good.
Yep.
Still dominating the league so far. So
yeah, and I like that.
They kept it rolling.
After the previous day where they kind of did take their foot off the pedal, they made sure to take care of business this game.
And they did.
Put them away. Jimerson and Hainline had pretty good games. Hainline actually, I think she swung perfect, 7 kills. So shout out to her. Well played.
Again, I feel like that's just Rachel Fairbanks making the team look real good offensively. I feel like she's just been spreading the ball really well, and it's making the defense a lot harder for the opposing teams. Just because, I mean, all of them are clicking right now. The middles are going, and I feel like Gia Day also just been good. So there's no one player that you're kind of like, if they're in the front row, you're not worried about them getting a kill.
Yeah,
they're all equally a threat, which can just make it that hard to defend.
We can move on to the Madison part really quickly, even though they kind of got clapped. I think Chaussee has been struggling passing for like this entire season, basically, because she does get targeted and it looks rough sometimes from her. And I think just passing in general is a big problem for Madison.
For sure. I mean, I feel like she actually passed pretty well at the beginning of the season, but I don't know, maybe it was from, you know, the last week where she wasn't playing, or she wasn't playing that much.
I think
she was getting sick, and, you know.
I think other teams are also like, or maybe it's league wide. I think everyone's kind of dialing in more on their like serves and everything. Like things are getting tougher. I think things started off a little bit slower this league.
Yeah.
I know everyone was talking about how it kind of felt like an exhibition league.
Yeah.
To start off, but I think the play is like really good right now. So
I think it's been getting better. I mean, you have to give them time for them for these teams to gel.
Yeah.
But I think the struggle with their passing has also been, you know, the consistency between all 3 passers. I feel like that's been difficult, where you don't really have the one passer. I mean, Wong has been really good, but you know, you can only do so much as a libero, especially at this level. Like, you can't take a ball from, you know, you're not going to be able to poach balls away from your outsides as easily.
Yeah, it's hard, especially when they're running the Sarah Franklin and Chaussee lineup, where it's like you want Wong or any lib to be taking up more of the court, but like you have to take up court from like both of them.
Yeah, so. I mean, Franklin, frankly, I guess, has been struggling passing. I feel like she's definitely been struggling passing. Now, offensively, she's been great. It's just, I mean, honestly, that might have been why Matt Ringer tried her at right side, especially when Annie Drews was not playing.
Yeah.
Like, just give it a different look. See what it's like when she doesn't have to worry about passing, just because, I mean, to be honest, the level of play from the servers at this level is just going to be way tougher than in college.
Yeah. College, some of the servers that we were seeing, I was like, there's literally free balls, especially compared to like these serves that we're seeing right now.
And Jess Merzick was a really good passer in college. And even now, I mean, she still has a harder time because the servers are just better now.
Yeah, I mean, even amongst the league, would not be considered one of the good passers because the level just steps up so much.
Yeah, so I think that's just been part of the woes for Madison.
Yeah.
It's just their passing and defense is just, it's been, they're still trying to get to maybe like middle of the pack, and they're not there yet. I think they're at the bottom right now, which is just making it hard.
They're just stuck at the bottom. I don't even I think if we were to like rank them right, like tier list them basically, they're in like their own bottom tier right now. That's how big of a difference it is.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that just comes down to defense and passing. I feel like that's kind of what's been holding them back, because I feel like offensively they've been fine. It's just they can't really hold the rally anymore because their blocking hasn't been great, and then it's hard for them to side out. So if you can't hold the serve well, you can't side out. It's gonna be really inconsistent.
Yeah, it's even hard for them to like get like their offense running when the like passing just isn't there. Like I don't know if it's like fully fair for Annie Drews.
Yeah.
Because well, one, she's like injured still.
Yeah.
But it's like she's not getting the easiest opportunities. I mean, I'd still like she's still kind of been disappointing in that sense, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the part about it where it's a team game, and you know, if your team is struggling, there's only so much an individual can do. So we'll have to see how Madison does later in the season, because I don't think right now they're going to be able to
I think
do too much.
They'll probably try and get things gelling. I don't even know. I'm confused about like how the league works still, because I don't think like we haven't seen it obviously, but I don't think they like trade players.
Yeah,
like how other leagues do.
I don't know.
Like there's no way for them to like improve their roster besides like literally just getting better as players or gelling better.
Yeah.
So that's another one of the little weird things.
Yeah. But Madison, it's been rough still, so.
Yeah. One thing that they did mention on the broadcast was that Santana I think she's out for the season with some sort of injury plus surgery. So
that just makes it that much tougher, because now, I mean, she was the one that would always get subbed in when you had Chaussee or Sarah Franklin not playing.
Yeah.
So now that she's gone, it's just going to make it that much more difficult.
More struggles and more or bigger shoes for Chaussee and Franklin to like step up and take.
Yeah, and I mean, you hate to see that. You don't want anyone getting injured.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just going to make it harder for Madison to try and climb out of this hole right now.
All right, now let's move on to the final game of the week, which was Omaha versus Salt Lake in a 5-set banger. This was definitely the game of the week. I did not expect it to be, but I think this one also had like a lot of emotion behind it, because Omaha was playing to get that bye for the League One Classic.
Yeah. And you know, Omaha, it looked like they were going to take care of business there, but
yes, to start off, I was like, we got another 3-setter on our hands.
Yeah.
But it was good to see that Salt Lake was able to like come back, rally themselves to like almost complete the reverse sweep, which is always super cool. It's one of my favorite things in volleyball to like watch, but
especially after that first game.
Yeah.
Because the game the day before was difficult, and you saw them still kind of have some resolve, that they were willing to fight back even when it didn't look good. I mean, you were down 0-2. You could just roll over and just say, all right, we'll just go on to the next match. But they still fought back, and I mean, they made it close. So
yeah. The player of the match was Winters. She got 20 kills on 48 attempts with 29.2% efficiency, and she also got served all game, obviously, because you're dealing with the serve receive being Justine Wong or Jordan Larson or her. So obviously you're going to serve her.
Yeah.
And she dealt with it pretty well. She passed pretty solid, and I think she came in clutch and kind of not won the game for them, but she really helped.
I mean, that was key for their serve receive for the entire match. I feel like, you know, and they probably understand that too when they had to deal with scouting, that they know that she's going to get targeted probably more often than not.
Yeah.
And if she can hold her own, even if she just goes even, she just has a decent pass, maybe she passes like a 1.5 or a 2 or something like that. You're going to take that any day, because, you know, Larson and Justine Wong Harantes are going to be able to do their thing. So, and offensively too. I mean, Winters was great, and I feel like that was kind of a concern, was how would they fare offensively on the outside? Because I don't think you have to worry about, especially right now. Now I feel like the middles have proven that they can score, and the right sides obviously have been scoring the whole season.
Yep.
So now it's just, you know, Larson's older, she has the experience, but, you know, it's going to be harder for her to be able to produce offensively.
Yeah.
You know, game in, game out. So
yeah, I think this was the game where they needed Winters to step up, because Larson did not have a good game.
Yeah.
She swung with like sub 10% efficiency. Like at the very least, it's not negative, but when it's such a tight game, you do need someone to be terminal, and it's good that Winter stepped up.
Yeah. I mean, that was huge for sure.
Also, like to say that Bader and Herrera were pretty good blocking, so that's good to see more strong middles coming out and putting pressure on the other team.
Especially for Omaha. I mean, I think that's been huge for them is in kind of an extra gear that they've gotten now is the middle play has been very solid now, where, you know, defensively that makes it so much easier when your middles are able to lock down the net. And offensively, it just helps spread out the offense. And they've both been able to do that on both sides of the net. When they're on defense and they're blocking, they've been blocking really well. They're getting touches, and then they're able to put the ball down too. So they've both been really good.
Yep. And speaking of making the defense easier, I think it definitely helped Justine Wong because she was playing out of her mind on defense.
Yeah.
I honestly, I was like thinking earlier in the season, I was like, oh, like, yeah, she's like super good, but I don't know, like, you know, Pinoy's really good. Like, there's other good liberos in this league. After this game, I was like, Justine Wong, she is the number one libero for sure.
Yeah, she kind of reminded everyone, I feel like, and this was the game to do that. For sure. Where, yeah, I mean, the other libs so far in the league have been able to show out, and they've been able to show certain things. And I think now with the defense kind of gelling a little bit more, I think she's been able to, you know, do her thing a little bit more. It looks like she's more comfortable back there. So this is definitely one of her, probably just her best game so far.
Yeah, this is her performance of the season so far, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
And now we can talk about the biggest story coming from this game. Even though it was a 5-setter, we had Lexi Rodriguez making her pro debut.
Hey man, that green looks weird though.
It does look a little wrong.
It looks weird.
Gonna take some getting used to.
Yeah. I mean, I've just been waiting for it. I was, you know, this last season during the NCAA tournament, I just was even more of a fan of her. I was really hoping that she could get some playing time once I heard that she was going to League One.
Yeah.
But then you kind of heard, okay, where is she gonna go?
Yeah.
On what team? It would make sense that she goes to Omaha. But why would she go to Omaha when she has Justine Wong-Rantes right there? But I think it's good, and I think it's probably going to be better for her long term that she's going to be behind her.
Yeah. This is like a training season basically.
Yeah. And I mean, she did her thing. You know, she did her thing.
Yeah, she didn't play too much, but she's passing.
Yeah.
I mean, we did get to see the service eve where it was Justine Wong, Lexi Rodriguez, and then Jordan Larson, the freaking goats of Nebraska, especially passing-wise. It was kind of nasty.
I mean, where are you even supposed to serve?
Literally, I was like, oh.
Where are you supposed to serve?
This defense is kind of crazy. I mean, Lexi looked a little bit, I don't know if she was, obviously, but she looked a little bit more tense, nervous than you'd expect. Yeah. But, you know, it's her first game, pro debut.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But, you know, she's got that one under her belt now, so maybe they can still play her a little bit. Yeah. I know it's difficult, though, because, you know, getting back to it, I mean, they've run a 6-2 a good amount of time. And obviously, if you're running 6-2, with the way that they do the subs in League One, it's going to be hard to get a DS in there.
Yeah, you have so many like limited subs. What is it, like 8 or something like that? Yeah. It's like almost unreasonable to be expecting to run a 6-2 and then also running a DS. Like, you're going to run out like 2 rotations in.
Yeah, and her opportunities are obviously going to be lower because one of the outsides is Jordan Larson.
Yeah, you did see Jordan Larson like take 1 or 2 balls from Lexi Rodriguez and was like, let her take it, come on. But what are you supposed to say when it's Jordan Larson?
That's
Jordan
the
Larson,
right there.
She's also perfect passing it.
That's like, the governor right there.
Let her have it.
I know. Let her do her thing still, but it was still good to see Lexi out there. Yeah. It's always fun when you see her out there.
It's pretty fun. I mean, she has probably like maybe not the most, but she has a lot of fans.
For sure.
So everyone's waiting to see her.
I know. Hopefully they can get her in when it's a home game. That'll always be good.
Yep. And now we get to talk about Salt Lake again. It was kind of hype. They almost got the reverse sweep. I was actually rooting for them at the end, even though like Omaha does have like a lot of like fun players. But I was like, they're gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, reverse sweep is always crazy because you always just don't think it's gonna happen. But I mean, you take one set. Then you take the second set. And then that third set, at that point, I feel like it's almost anyone's game. And usually that team that's doing this reverse is going to have, that's going to be their momentum. And that's how they can probably take it over. But, Omaha was able to hold off.
Yeah, I think that was, honestly, this game was a good showing of like mental fortitude from both teams.
Yeah.
Where it's like Salt Lake was able to like rally themselves and try and make that comeback, but then Omaha was also able to not get overwhelmed by losing 2 sets and then feeling, oh shoot, are we actually going to throw this game? They clutched up, made sure they won the 5th.
Yeah, and I think that just came down to leadership. I feel like the experience that Jordan Larson and Justine Wong-Orantes have, I feel like that just helps them buckle down and, say, all right, we're not going to lose this game. And they can take over on defense. And, yeah, they were able to hold them down.
Yep. And then to mention some of their players, Skylar Fields, again, played super well. She, always takes her swings. She's always going to get her swings, especially with this team. I don't think she had the most efficient game, but in a 5-setter where you kind of lose, it's going to not look that great.
Yeah. But again, she's still been really good. She's been solid where, again, it kind of feels like you can just set her and she's going to get a kill a good amount of the time.
Yeah.
And, defensively, she's been okay blocking. I wouldn't say that she's been great, but, maybe that's something that can help them.
Yeah.
Because, she's been able to OT pretty much everyone. I feel like
it's
if her blocking
kind of
locks
gross.
down, I feel like if her blocking locks down, that can just be another weapon for them. Especially with Haley Washington coming back too.
Yes, she is looking elite now, and she looks like she is rallying the team.
Yeah, imagine you're swinging on the outside, and you got Skylar Fields, Haley Washington bearing down on you when they're blocking. So
it will be an overwhelming presence right there. It kind of was this game. The blocking from Salt Lake was actually very, very strong, very, very nice.
Yeah, and what if you see a combo of the Haley Washington slide and then you run Skylar Fields, you give her a C ball, and you overload that right side. That's gonna be really hard to stop. So maybe that's something that they can do.
Yeah, it's gonna be very fun to see them progress. Haley Washington's back, baby.
Oh yeah, she brings energy to every arena, every match that she plays in.
I think she's definitely the heart of this team, so you can now see that they're like really putting it together.
Yeah, I honestly think it could be a turning point. I don't know if they're gonna be able to catch, the top 2 teams, but they might be in the thick of it.
Yeah, I think they will not be an easy game as shown. They'll not be like an easy game for anyone.
Yeah, and more time, more experience together. I think that'll just make it that much tougher to play them.
I think for their outsides, it was looking a little bit tough. I think that's where, if I were to pinpoint somewhere where they need to step it up a little bit more, I'd say it is Salt Lake's outsides. Obviously they're good, but I think they might be getting, I don't know, they've faced some times where they're not able to be consistent, or they're matched up poorly against the other team's blocking, and they struggle.
Yeah, I think so. I think they kind of have to be put in a better situation for them to get kills. And they're both really good. Don't get me wrong. Again, I think they're probably one of the more fun duos to watch out of outside tandems. But yeah, they're not gonna they're not gonna overwhelm you physically. They're both great players, and I think maybe the consistency is probably part of that.
Yeah.
Where if they're more consistent, that might take Salt Lake a little bit higher.
Yeah, I think that will also be one of their next steps of evolution is when they start stepping it up a little bit more, and then feeling like they could also be some potential carries of the team. I think that's when you can go, okay, now we have a strong team on our hands.
Yeah, because if they get a little more consistent, and Haley Washington is back, I think the offense just becomes that much more difficult to deal with. And maybe just with Haley Washington herself, that might make it a little bit easier for the outsides.
Yeah.
Just because that you have such a presence in the middle. So.
Yep. Looking forward to see what they can do during the Classic, because I think they'll make a run.
Yeah, I think they're one of the teams that is going to be really exciting.
And that concludes our match recaps. For our next segment and our main segment, we have one key player for each of the League One teams to help decide if they're going to succeed in the League One Classic.
All right. So first team that we're gonna go over, we're gonna take Madison, and I actually took Annie Drews.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
I think that for her, it's just gonna be really big for her because she's been hurt, but I think everyone knows that she's a vet for this team. I think she's been around USA volleyball in big games the most, and she's a great player. I feel like if she can get going, and hopefully the injury isn't going to hinder her too much, I feel like that can unlock something for this Madison team where maybe they can win the first game. Maybe they can go into the second match or something,
Yeah.
It's going to be tough for them because, they're definitely the team looking outside in right now.
Yep. No one expects too much from them.
No, but I think if Annie Drews can have a good game, that might be their chance to win a match.
Yeah, I think also this kind of will be a deciding factor on whether we see if she can like really step up offensively or like what to expect, because like this is the first like more meaningful match of the year.
Yeah.
So obviously we want to see her step up and take a little bit more lead of the team, because I mean, speaking a little bit separately, Carlini, I think she can talk to the team and she runs the team well in terms of running an offense, but in terms of like specifically being the emotional leader of the team or like motivating the team like that, I think that is falling a little bit more on Annie Drews.
Yeah, and I think that even just with her play, I feel like, having that right side presence is just going to be huge for them, I think. Because their offense has also been struggling.
Yeah.
And I think, they need a player that they can just rely on to give the ball.
I think Carlini would like to have her USA teammate.
For sure. Because, right now, it kind of feels like they're riding off of the high that is Sarah Franklin and her offense, which is good for sure.
Yep.
But it's hard for her to, she's got to pass too, and that's been a problem for her.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a lot if she has to still produce so much offensively that, it could help her when Annie Drews is also back in there and you're still running her all the way around. She can still be a threat from the back row.
Yeah.
So,
I think seeing if she could also take a little bit of defensive pressure off of them.
For sure, yeah.
Even obviously she's right side, but she's not a bad passer.
Yeah. And she's a big block. When she's up there, it's going to be a big block to deal with. And I think that could be huge if their blocking can get a little bit better, and that might start with putting her back in.
So my key player was actually, you mentioned her earlier, Sarah Franklin. I think for her, having her step up with a little bit more passing, or even, I think the offense has been mostly fine. It's honestly just more passing.
Yeah.
I think that's just what the team's been struggling with. And Sarah Franklin has been targeted the most. I think also because teams want to get her out of system basically and not be able to swing, because she is swinging really well. So I think just seeing if she can start to step up that passing, and if she does happen to have a good passing weekend, I guess that could actually take them somewhere.
Yeah, and I think that it'll go together. I think that'll help her rhythm when she's passing well.
Yeah.
Or passing just fine.
Solid.
That can help her get her offense going.
Yeah.
Because, you're going to get a better feel of the ball. You're just going to start feeling good, and then you're going to be able to take big swings.
Yep.
Which she's been able to do no problem. But, when you're passing well and you're going to be able to take big swings, I feel like that's when you might see Sarah Franklin at her best.
Yeah.
So the next team that we're going to take is, we're going to talk about Austin. And
Interesting.
I took Maddie Skinner here. I just feel like, coming out of college, she had this legendary college career. Winning 3 national championships. And you kind of just saw that she was just an offensive superstar. And you could kind of see that even when they took her to USA.
Yeah.
For that team, she was moved to, instantly to a right side. And it kind of makes sense when you know how good of an offensive player that she is, and how physical she can be, that you would actually put her on the right side. And so far she's been making it work. I
think that especially this last game.
For sure. Yeah, offensively, she has been amazing for Austin now.
You're seeing her step it up, and I think if she can keep stepping up, if she can get even better, oh my God.
Yeah. And I think for Austin, it helps that the blocking has been really good with Obogu, but Maddie Skinner has been blocking pretty well too.
Yes, she is a huge block.
I think if she can step up in just being a little bit more consistent on offense and just being there for the blocking, I think that can really propel Austin to maybe take a stab at it, maybe win a match, maybe win a second one as well.
Yep. My pick was actually Logan Eggleston, especially after seeing her play well this past week. I went, if this is the Logan Eggleston that you can get for every game from now on, Austin will be good. Like, it helps them a lot when she's actually swinging well and she's passing pretty well. But it's kind of that consistency thing where if she's not always on that, or she's normally not always on that. So now that we see that it can be a thing, it'd be nice to see it in this tournament and for every game going forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting to think about, but I feel like Maddie has actually been more aggressive with her swings than Logan Eggleston has been so far. And I mean, if you can get an aggressive Logan, I mean, you already know what she can do when she's aggressive. She's going to be hitting the crap out of the ball. Yeah. So I think, I think if she can put the ball down as well and she's aggressive, that can really make Austin look really good.
Yeah, I think she'll probably be key for how they do this tournament.
Yeah. Next, we're going to take a look at Salt Lake. So for this one, I feel like, at least for me, it was pretty easy to pick who, and I picked Haley Washington. I just feel like now that she's back, now that she's healthy, she's gotten a couple games under her belt already. I feel like, you already know that she's the battery to this team, that, she's going to be the emotional thermometer, I guess is how I'd put it. If she's going to be hot and she's going to be high energy, that's just going to let Salt Lake kind of follow that. And if she's able to do that and perform well, like she has been recently, I think, again, that's what is going to make Salt Lake, a threat to the top teams.
Yeah, I think she is definitely the major weapon that other teams are going to be worried about and kind of looking at. So I think if she steps up into that role, and I didn't have her down for this because I thought that she has already been doing that pretty well. So I think that she'll continue to do so. So I think it will be important. If she's off her game, it's not going to be a good weekend for them.
Yeah. I think it might start and stop with her.
Yeah.
If she's going to have a good game.
Yeah.
And if she's not, then I think I could see Salt Lake struggling a little bit.
Yeah. For mine, I wrote myself down two options. I wrote down Danny Drews and Ronnie Jones Perry both, because I think they generally just need strong outside production in general. Otherwise, they're not gonna do well. You saw it last, in the past game, this past week. If they're both not playing well, or even just one of them is not playing well, the offense struggles a little bit more when you have not a free ball. You have an out of system ball. You're putting it up to an outside. If they're getting stuffed, if they're making errors or just can't get a kill, giving a free ball, it's not gonna work well for your team. So I said that both of them are probably the key players, because if it all depends on how they play, basically.
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit of cheating. You took two players, even though they're both outsides. But
my thing was I had the same issue with both of them.
I would say that I think Danny Drews is going to be the one that I'm going to look out for out of the two. Just because I feel like Ronnie Jones Perry has kind of showed that she's done it before, at least earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Now it's just, can she be consistent with it?
Yeah.
I think if there can be a good Danny Drews game, I think that just helps the team now with their offense.
Yeah.
And passing too. I think they've been struggling with serve receive.
A little bit, yeah.
And I think if both of them can step it up on serve receive, I think that's going to be huge for them.
Yeah, I think that's just who I'm mainly looking at.
Okay, now we're going to look at Houston. And here I picked Jess Merzick to be key.
Good choice.
I think for her, it's been one hell of a ride that she's been back. Now playing pro volleyball instead.
Yep.
And I think now that she's settled in a little bit now, that she can hopefully find more consistency.
Yeah,
because
consistency has been the main thing for her.
Yeah, I mean, because at the beginning of the season, she came out she was
swinging.
She was the second coming of the best outside in the U.S.
Yeah,
that's
I thought we had Gabby. I was like, yo, we got a Gabby in the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, because she was hitting shots that you'd see a vet hit. She was hitting 4-4s, she's tooling the block nice and like high off hands, and I feel like she's slowed down a little bit now.
Yeah.
But it's not like that, left her game. She still knows how to do those things. I just think if she can get a rhythm, maybe after that first game, then Houston might look really good, because I think when she's had a good game, Houston has looked very, very good. Yep. Obviously, they've had games where they look good without her playing well, but against an Atlanta or Omaha, if Jess Murdoch is also playing well and you have Jordan Thompson, I think that team is just going to be really difficult to play against.
Yeah, I agree. And that kind of leads into my choice. I picked Jordan Thompson for mine. I think already the team kind of like rides or dies with her based on like how good she's going, because she's getting like the vast majority of swings on the team. And I think if she steps it up at like to the next level, they will succeed. And I think I can see them even maybe getting into the finals if she is playing like on a heater. And on the other hand, if she does have a bad weekend, then I can see them kind of dropping all the way down. So I think a lot depends on her performance, but we don't really normally see her play poorly, so I'm not expecting that. I'm just seeing how good she could play, and if she can if she can take them to the finals.
That's wrong. Yeah. But I mean, I agree. I feel like Jordan Thompson has actually been like one of the most consistent players in the league, where, from week 1 and their first match versus, now in week 5, I feel like she has been able to put the ball down. She's been blocking well, and she's been playing pretty good defense, even in the back row.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I didn't pick her, just because I thought she's hopefully still going to be able to do her thing.
Yeah.
You kind of have to see a bad game from her for that to happen.
I picked it on I need an extra spicy game from her. Like, even
That's true.
She's already playing super well, but if she gets one of those God game moments, it's just over.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gunning for the win against the whole league, and you're trying to win the Classic, I think, you definitely need...
Yeah, you need her to be on a real tear.
Yeah, you need her to play really well. And, I mean, because I feel like their team can kind of go up and down with the way that she's going to play.
I mean, that's why they set her the most balls.
Yeah, I mean, she's been really good on offense, so we'll see. And then next, we are going to look at Omaha. And here, I actually took Jaylee Winters.
Yeah.
I thought that she was going to be a key for them offensively because of how good the middles and the right sides have been, that now you need someone else to provide on offense from the outside. And again, we kind of talked about it where Jordan Larson, she's still going to be able to hit the crazy shots, but you can't expect her to consistently drop 10 kills on high efficiency.
Yeah.
But with someone like Winters, where she's younger, but she's got a lot of tricks in her bag, and I think if she's able to have a consistent run, then I think they can definitely win the Classic for sure.
Yeah, I think especially if she plays how she just played like this past week, I think that's kind of what they need for this weekend.
Yeah, and I think if she can build momentum on this, and again with her passing, I think that's going to be huge as well. Not even just her offense, but if the passing is going to be consistent, I mean, who the heck are you supposed to serve when all three of them are going to pass consistently?
Yeah. That is also very similar to my pick. I did end up picking Jordan Larson. I kind of picked her for the same reasons that you said, where she's not struggling, but she can be a little bit more inconsistent on offense. I think, especially going into probably what will be like if they make it to the finals or even the third place match, if she's not swinging well, then I don't know how good of a chance they stand. Because, like, obviously Winters is going to be very good, but they set Larson a decent amount, and if she has another poor showing, it could probably lead them to going as far down as 4th in this tournament. So it's tough.
Yeah. All right. Then, last but not least, we are going to pick a player from Atlanta.
Yes, the number 1.
So this one was tough for me. I ended up picking Tessa Grubbs.
Yes.
I just thought offensively she has been a stud recently. And if she can keep that up, I really don't know if a team can mess with her. And I think that just takes them over the top. I feel like everything else, every other player on their team has been so solid. Hopefully Mackenzie Adams is back, but who knows? Gia Day has
matter.
Gia Day has stepped up into that role, and she has done perfectly fine.
Yep.
But if Tessa Grubbs can do what she's been doing and pretty much put the ball down on every set, I don't know what you are supposed to do against that team.
Yeah, she played almost as like insane as Jordan Thompson. So I think if she plays well this weekend, it's looking like a first place for them.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe you don't even need her to have a really good game. She can just have a solid game, and they'll be able to, likely take out a win. But if she has really good games, then I don't even know what team is going to be able to really mess with them so far.
Yeah.
They've just been looking better than every team right now.
For my pick, I actually picked Rachel Fairbanks. So obviously she's been running the team pretty well this season. I just think there have been flashes where I've seen her kind of like setting a couple balls in a row a little bit too tight, a little bit awkwardly, and sometimes like the middle connection is a little funky, but the middles are good enough to make it work. So I think it all depends on how consistent of a performance we get from her, and if she can kind of get good connection with the outsides especially, I think that's where I see her setting a bunch of like tight trap balls sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of something that other teams can pick on, especially if it's going to be tough because Atlanta is the best passing team, or one of the best passing teams.
Yeah.
If they somehow start getting them out of system, that's where we might start seeing Rachel Fairbanks get a little bit more tested. She might start making a couple more errors that we haven't seen so far.
Yeah, and I think she will be key because, she hasn't really been tested so far yet. I feel like Atlanta has just looked that much better.
Yes, the team as a whole has just been that good.
Where the passing has been so consistent, she hasn't had to deal with a lot of out of system. And her hitters have been, they've been riding a high. They've been on, they have a lot of momentum right now where she really can't do wrong with a lot of her sets.
Yeah.
But, when you face another team looking at the Classic and, maybe if they are in the finals, what happens when she gets tested a little bit.
Yeah.
That we would like to see.
I just don't want to like jinx it at all, but Pitt, you know how they were. So
You just put it out there.
I'm just a little bit worried. We saw how things kind of went at Pitt. Obviously, this isn't Pitt, but she's one of the players from Pitt. So
maybe with the team that she's got, maybe she'll be okay.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
This could also be a good moment of growth for her. So
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. All right, and those are our key players for each team. And the last thing that we want to talk about today is just the Love Classic that's happening this weekend. So it's happening in Kansas City, Missouri, and which is really something that's really cool is that it's happening at the same time and in the same area as the Volleyball Triple Crown Club Tournament, which has over 670 teams, I believe. So hopefully we're going to see the stands kind of packed with a bunch of players and maybe fans of the game in general coming out to watch.
I think it's really cool that they're able to do it and in front of hopefully club kids that are going to want to see that, watch that, and maybe get inspired. Maybe who knows who's in that crowd that might be watching.
Yeah, future players.
Yeah,
could be kind of cool. So the way that it's structured is that the first round with the bottom 4 teams it's going to be on Friday. So those 2 games will happen. The losers of that round will play the 5th place match on Sunday, and then the 2 winning teams will move on to Saturday, where they play the 1st and 2nd seeds. So that's happening on Saturday, and the 2 winners obviously move into the finals. 2 losers move into the 3rd place game. Both of those are happening on Sunday, and the 5th place match, ESPN Plus, everything before, all ESPN Plus. The 3rd place match is going to be on ESPNU, and then after that, the finals is going to be on ESPN2, which is super cool. We're finally going to see League One on a national broadcast.
Yeah, I think it'll be really good that the whole Classic is going to be on ESPN Plus, and on ESPN2 is huge. I think that's going to be really awesome.
And next, that means we're going to move on to the Rally Round, where we play all our games. Welcome to the Rally Round, where we play all of our games. Today, we're going to start off with a draft, and it's going to be a draft of 1 player from each of the League One volleyball teams. Let's draft a team built of 1 player from each League One team. I'll take the first pick, and I'm going to take Chiaka Okbogu from Austin.
Oof, that's tough. I mean, she's really good. I feel like blocking wise, she's been the most consistent middle.
Yeah.
So
I think historically she is probably like the best middle available in the league.
Yeah. All right. That's a good pick. All right. Next, I'm going to take Pinoy from Atlanta. Oof. I think at least just so far, she's been the highest performing lib.
Mm-hmm. She's very good.
I know that there's a lot of really good libs out there in League One right now, but at least the way she's performed is definitely the best right now. All right. Next, I'm going to take Jordan Thompson from Houston.
I wanted her.
I think she's just been too good. I feel like as a right side, she's just been the most consistent, I would say.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other right sides that have been very good, but I think consistency-wise and what she brings, I think Jordan Thompson is the right side I want.
Throughout the season, she has been the right side.
Yeah.
Damn. That brings it to my pick. So I'll take Justine Wong Orantes for my next pick from Omaha. So I think I wanted a good lib, and I think she's the next best lib. And she performed, like, taking into account her last week performance, I think she has the highest ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick against her just because, I mean, you know what she can do on the biggest stage. You know, in the Olympics, past 2 Olympics, she's been the best libero, I'd say. So
yeah,
just as of now, that's still a good pick.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at that.
And my next pick will be Haley Washington from Salt Lake City, rounding out my middles basically.
Yeah, I mean, now it's gonna be hard for me to take middles now, but I mean, she's been good, even though she's only played maybe 2 matches. But I feel like she's just been getting better and better and more comfortable.
Yeah, I think she'll be good.
All right, the next I'll take Carlini from Madison for my setter. I think so far I just feel like even though the offense hasn't been fully there as a team, I think she still has been one of the best setters in the league so far. Yeah. And she does play all the way around, and I feel like you can see that with her blocking and her defense. I feel like she's probably the best well-rounded setter, at least.
I think she's 100% the best defensive setter, and blocking is not bad either, so that is tough for me.
All right, and then for middle, I'm going to take Herrera from Omaha. I think she's been pretty solid since since the season has started. I know she wasn't probably looked at to be one of the better middles, but I think right now she's been pretty solid. So
that brings it to my pick, and I'm gonna move on to my outsides, and I'm gonna take Kelsey Cook from Atlanta. So I think she's probably one of the best. She's probably the best passing outside right now, besides maybe like Jordan Larson. So I could always use her on my team, and I think she has a better offensive game than Jordan Larson right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like she's been a huge factor for what's making Atlanta so good this year.
Yeah.
So. And with her passing, serve, receive, serving, and obviously even her offense has still been pretty good. So, yeah, I'd say that she's been very all around.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then I think I'll take my setter here, and I'm going to take Micah Hancock from Houston. I mean, I think she has one of the strongest serves in the league, and she is a national team level setter, so I don't think I went too wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like she's also been a really good, consistent setter for Houston. And yeah, I mean, the serving is definitely a bonus for sure.
Yeah.
Best server in the league, I'd say.
Yeah.
And then for me, I'm going to take an outside, so I'm going to take Anna Hawk from Austin. I feel like she's also been very consistent, at least for that Austin team, and you know, she's been able to be really strong offensively and defensively. She's still been solid, so
yeah,
good all-around outside for me. Next, I'm going to round out my outsides, and I'm going to take Ronnie Jones-Perry from Salt Lake City.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, I feel like she's kind of in the same boat. I think she's very good all around, and I feel like she's been a pretty big portion of the offense for Salt Lake.
Yeah, I think especially when they didn't have Haley Washington, and whenever Skylar Fields is out, you gotta let her swing.
Yeah.
So that brings me to my final 2 picks, and for my last picks, I'm gonna start off by taking Sarah Franklin from Madison. I think she's super strong offensively, and with the defense on my team, I think we'll be able to cover a lot of ground if she struggles.
Shoot, you might. Yeah, you're gonna need that defense to pick up for her. I mean, I don't disagree with you. I mean, offensively, she's been great.
Yeah.
So that's definitely there. It's the defense where it's like,
just gotta cover her a little bit. And my final pick for my right side, I'm going to pick Tessa Grubbs from Atlanta. So I think she, especially last week, she played on near the same level as Jordan Thompson. So if I get that type of performance from her on this team, I think we're looking pretty good from the right side.
Yeah, I mean, she's also just a super physical right side.
Yeah.
She can definitely take over.
Yeah, she's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, she's just been really big for them offensively as a team, so. All right. Well, to double up, I'm going to take Tia Jimerson from Atlanta.
Ooh, she is also a nasty blocker. She is mad athletic also, so
Yeah.
that's a good pick.
She's definitely been showing out, I feel like, this season. I feel like she's been actually probably one of the more consistent middles, probably besides Shaka Bogu. So.
Yeah, and I think she's been able to like showcase herself offensively probably a little better, even if she's a little bit not the same blocker exactly.
Yeah, I feel like offensively she's been really good, and blocking-wise she's still been really solid, so I like that.
That's pretty good. And just to recap our teams, for my middle blockers, I had Shaka Ogbogu and Haley Washington. For my libero, I had Justine Wong-Arantes. My outsides are Kelsey Cook and Sarah Franklin. My setter is Micah Hancock, and my right side is Tessa Grubbs.
All right, my setter is going to be Lauren Carlini from Madison. My outsides are going to be Anna Hawk and Ronnie Jones-Perry. My right side is going to be Jordan Thompson. My two middles are going to be Herrera and Tia Jimerson. And my libero is going to be Pinoy.
Sounds good. Who do you think will win? Moving on to our next segment, we're going to tier list some nicknames, some of the more common nicknames that we hear in volleyball. So let's tier list these pro volleyball nicknames. Let's start off with Jordan Larson, the Governor.
The Governor.
What can you say? What can you say? Probably one of the most iconic nicknames that we've ever had in volleyball, especially from the U.S.
Yeah, this is my favorite nickname for sure.
Yeah.
I love saying it, and my favorite part was when you had the Governor, and in that game, it was their first home game, and they were playing in Nebraska, and they had a split screen of Jordan Larson, and they also had the actual Governor of Nebraska.
There's not much you can say. That's definitely an S tier for us.
Yes, for sure.
Next, we have Kim Young-kyung from Korea. Her nickname is Bread Unny. And the reason that she's called that is because she says this one Korean curse a lot. And that curse sounds very similar to the word for bread, white bread. So all of her fans have now decided to call her Bread Unny because she curses a lot. So personally, I think it's a very good nickname. Super funny. Like the story behind it, at least, super funny. She used it for her YouTube channel, so it's got to be pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like you really got to be in the know.
Yeah.
And when you are, it is really funny to have that as a nickname.
Mm-hmm. And shout out to her for just announcing her retirement. Insane career.
Yeah.
And I think because of the story behind it and, a little bit of emotional attachment because she retired, I'm going to say I'd like to put it in S tier.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I feel like
it's an S or an A.
Yeah, S or A. So I'll help, and I'll give it an S as well.
Okay, so we're putting it in S. The next one that we have is for Haley Washington, called Mount Washington. You hear it sometime in the broadcasts, especially when she gets a big block. They like to call her Mount Washington, getting the stuff. So it's a solid nickname, not as iconic as everything else we've had, but
yeah, I mean, it's okay. I feel like you might only get it if you're from the U.S.
Yeah,
I feel like probably other countries they're not gonna know what that means.
Yeah, probably wouldn't care too much. It's not as iconic as the other ones, and I think just relatively we might have to place it a little bit lower.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather be conservative with it and say it's probably B or C.
Yeah,
I wouldn't put it too high.
Maybe B tier is good because it's not necessarily bad. It's just not popular. So
all right,
I think we could leave it in B.
All right,
and then our final nickname is one that a lot of people might not know about, but Karch Karai, the U.S. GOAT. His name that he goes by is actually a nickname. So we have Karch.
Yeah, apparently his real name is actually just Charles. But Karch sounds way cooler, and it's that singular name, and I feel like that shows that you really made it. And obviously, he's the USA volleyball GOAT. So
yeah, man, it's what everyone calls him by. So it's hard to say that it's basically almost like his name. So
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it on the level of those top ones.
Yeah, it might not have the same clout.
I'd probably say A, just because people don't even know that's a nickname.
Yeah, we can put it in A. So still iconic, but not iconic as a nickname.
Yeah.
So what do you think about our rankings? For our next and final game, we're going to try and match the clip to the number of views. So I took 5 of the most popular clips from the League One Instagram, and we have to match up their view count to the play. Can you match these League One highlights to their view count? Starting off, we have Sarah Franklin with a stuff block.
Damn, that actually went straight down. Wow, that's actually crazy. All right, I'll put her at 392,000.
Sounds good. Playing it safe so far.
Yeah.
Our next clip is a huge defensive battle between Justine Wong-Arantes and Wang Ximin.
Damn, good up. Wang Ximin always being extra a little bit. Oh my god, what an up. Oh my god, crazy ups by both of them though. Ooh, and then put the ball away. I mean, this is a crazy rally. I mean, it's super long too. I'd say this is pretty good, but so I'll put it a little bit higher. I'll put this one with 449,000.
The next clip is Zoe Jarvis making a huge defensive save.
Oh, bad pass. Oh my god. She laid out for that. Oh no.
Oh no.
They shanked that pass. Oh my god. Wow. I mean, the hustle is insane. I feel like that's like the quintessential volleyball play that people love watching for highlights too. So I'll give this one around 350,000.
And our next one is the newest highlight. It's Lexi Rodriguez making her pro debut and getting her first ace.
Oh boy. This is so hype. Seeing her finally suit up and on the court.
One of the biggest NCAA stars.
What a serve. Man, that's so hype. I do kind of have to just think that Nebraska fans are going to rock with her. So I'll give this one the top spot and give it 647,000.
Sounds good. And your last play is going to be Gia Day making a huge line swing.
Okay. Damn. Wow, what a shot. Oh, she actually yammed that too. Oof. All right, well, at least for now, I'll just have to give her the 467,000. So it's kind of, I think that's second place right now, but we'll see.
Yeah, now you can make any changes that you'd like to do.
All right, so I'll probably just switch Sarah Franklin and Gia Day, and I'll probably rock it like that.
Yeah, I mean, you think everything else is fine?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in my top spot and in my bottom spot. So,
all right, let me go get the answers for you.
Man.
Okay, so at number 1, you put Lexi Rodriguez, and at number 1, Lexi Rodriguez.
I knew it, man. The Nebraska fans are gonna ride hard with their players.
The biggest bench superstar of all time.
Hey, it was hype though. I respect it, Lexi.
Very hype. And at number 2, you switched it and you put Sarah Franklin. And at number 2 is Sarah Franklin.
Let's go!
2 for 2, 2 for 2.
You know I made that switch. Let's go. Coming in clutch right now.
Clutch. The number 3 clip, you had Justine Wong-Arantes versus Wang Ximin. And that was correct.
Oh yeah. 3 for 3, baby. Let's go.
Easy. Light work. And then your final 2, you had Gia Day, then Zoe Jarvis.
Yeah.
Would you like to switch them?
No, come on. I got this. Stick with your gut here.
So you stuck with your gut, and unfortunately, You got it wrong. So that's a 3 for 5.
Oh my god. All right.
So close, so close.
You know what? That's good enough. That's pretty close right there.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode. So thank you for watching if you made it this far. And comment who you think's going to win the League One Classic.
Make sure you guys tune into that one.
Yep. See y'all next week.